Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to episode 25 of Alloy's Lunch and Learn sessions. My name is Scott Young, and I am the manager on products and services here at Alloy Computer Products. Today, we are going to look at Yealink MVC solutions and connecting the MVC devices to third-party DSP and also control systems as well. Now, throughout the webinar today, guys, if you do have any questions at all, please put them into the chat or the QA panels. I will get to them as soon as I can. It'll probably be towards the end of the webinar before I do, though. And if anybody does have any or wants to ask a question via audio, please just raise your hand and I'll unmute you and you can ask away. All right, so what we're going to look at today is why do we need to actually use third-party audio on a Yealink MVC system? We're going to look at the supported options that are available, so some of the brands that are supported by Yealink for their systems. We'll look at how these devices are connected to the Yealink MVC systems. Then we'll also have a quick look at not only connecting DSPs, but also adding room control to Yealink MVC systems as well. All right, first of all, why do we need to use third-party audio with a Yealink room system? Now, there's lots of different reasons why we may need to do this, but some of the key reasons that I'm going to outline today is reusing existing audio. Sometimes we might be going in and we might be upgrading a customer's meeting room VC system, but they might already have existing audio, existing speakers, mics and things in that room. And we want to actually attach that to a new VC system. So having the ability to actually purchase a Yealink kit without audio and then integrating that with existing room audio is definitely possible. And that's one of the reasons why we need to do that. Another reason might be that the actual mics that the room requires, let's say it's a auditorium or something like that, and we want to be able to utilize lapel mics, or we might want to be able to use gooseneck type mics in front of different speakers. You know, to be able to achieve that, we then need to use third-party devices. So that's another reason. Another reason might be around multi-purpose rooms where, you know, the audio or the speakers and mics that we use may need to be switched depending on how we use that room. So as we know, a lot of larger rooms, sometimes they might have a separating door where the room may be split into smaller meeting room spaces in some use cases, and then also combined together when we want to have a larger conference. So to be able to actually achieve that with the Yealink systems, we really need to be able to use third-party DSPs and control systems to be able to enable and disable particular speakers and microphones, which is not possible at this point in time with the Yealink's own audio equipment. And again, one of the last ones that I've got here is the room size. You know, with the Yealink audio options that we have available, it is limited in terms of the size of the room that we can support. So when we're talking about ceiling microphones, we can only have a maximum of 8 ceiling microphones on an MVC system. So if the room is larger than what we can cater for with the Yealink equipment, then we may need to bring in third-party audio. So as you can see, that's 4 use cases where I can see that third-party audio is going to be needed. But there's obviously probably plenty of more reasons why we may need to choose a different audio type rather than using Yealink's own audio options. All right, so let's have a look at some of the brands that are already supported by Yealink. So some of the key brands that we have here are the Shure mics and speakers and DSPs. They're all supported by the Yealink systems. The Biamp devices are also supported, and also the QSC systems as well. So if we have a look on not only Yealink's website, but also on the Shore, the Biamp, the QSys websites, they all have dedicated pages and integration guides for integrating their equipment with the Yealink products. So if you do need further information on the integration that's available for these different third-party DSPs and audio equipment, please do look on the Yealink website and also each individual's vendor's website as well for additional information here. And what we'll look at now is a few different ways that we can connect some of these DSPs to the Yealink systems. Now, one of the first ways to do that is via Yealink's latest AV hub. So the AV hub itself has a USB port that's dedicated for connectivity to third-party DSP options. And that's a USB connect directly to a USB connected DSP. Now, in this example, we're using Biamp equipment. There's the DSP itself, there's PoE switches that are connecting Dante type audio equipment to these devices. And then we have amplifiers and things that are running the speakers and the mics on the system. So a pretty straightforward connection type via USB to the Yealink AV hub. Now, one thing to mention here is when you are using third-party DSPs and things with the Yealink equipment, you can't mix and match, mics and speakers, one from Yealink, one from the DSP. So when you are going for a DSP-based solution, it is one or the other. So if you are going and connecting a DSP, we need to make sure that we're using mics and speakers connected to that DSP. We can't use mics from the Yealink system, but then use speakers from the DSP. It is one or the other. Okay, another way that we can connect these systems. So with the AV hub traditionally is used on a Yealink system where we're using a multi-camera type solution. We've got a larger room type. We want to utilize multiple cameras, maybe one for the presenter, one for the audience. So in this use case, we're going back to a single camera solution. So one great thing about the latest UBC86 camera from Yealink is it also has that dedicated USB port that we can connect to our DSPs with. So not only can we connect via a Yealink camera or the AV hub, not only can we connect it via the AV hub, we also have the ability to connect it directly to a camera for those smaller room types where we want to integrate third-party audio. And it's going to be the same connection type. So it's going to be that USB connection to our DSP, and then our speakers and mics and things will connect via that gateway device. Now, coming soon as well, we also will support the UBC84, not only the UBC86. So look out for that as well. Okay, another option that we've got here. So let's look at, so sometimes we might not want to use DSP. So sometimes we might want to just utilize an existing amplifier that might be in a room. It might just be that we've got speakers in the room that we don't need to, we don't need a DSP. We don't need to connect mics and speakers. We just want to utilize existing Yealink speakers, for example. Now with the UBC86, the UBC86 doesn't have a dedicated line out option. So what Yealink have done is with that same USB port that we would use to connect to a DSP, we can also use a USB audio adapter. So a USB audio adapter will allow a USB to 3.5mm audio connection to allow us to connect to third-party speakers. Now with the UBC84, we also do, the UBC84, does have a 3.5mm audio jack. So we don't need that third-party USB audio adapter. We can disconnect directly from the audio out jack on the camera, on the UBC84 camera, and connect to our third-party speaker solution. Now with the Yealink kit, if you're not familiar with it, with the cameras themselves, so the cameras are what processes the actual audio on a Yealink system. So camera itself has a USB connection back to the MTRoW PC, which is the computer that's running Windows 10 and running our Teams MTR application. So the actual audio itself does not connect directly to our MTRoW. It all goes via our camera. So the camera itself has all of the AEC, echo cancellation and whatnot built into the camera. So if we are using third-party speakers, we can still utilize existing Yealink microphones. So we can still use the ceiling mics, we can still use the tabletop mics, the wireless mics. We can still utilize those microphones or Yealink's own microphones with third-party speaker options. So as long as the audio in and the audio out is being processed by the camera, we're still going to have full echo cancellation and have control of that audio experience. Now, same thing whether it's going to be the UVC-84 as well. So as long as we're having audio in, audio out running through that camera, it's going to be a solution that's going to work on the Yealink system. Now, one thing that people do try and do is run mics via the camera, but then audio directly via the MTRoW. Now, when we do that on this system, we're not going to have echo cancellation. So we're going to get echo in the room. So the mics are going to pick up the audio from the speakers, and we're going to get echo in the room. So we can't do that. All with the Yealink system, we need to make sure that all of the audio is running through that camera. Now, another alternative to that is that we don't have to use audio through the camera if we don't want to. So with that DSP kind of scenario back on the previous slides, if we do want to connect those directly to the PC, we can do that too. So we can just connect a DSP via USB directly to the PC and bypass that camera connection. So that there is quite a few different options that we do have available when connecting this audio. All right, so moving on from the audio. So just quickly, I'll just quickly go and look at the questions before we move on to the next step. So there's a couple of questions up here. Let me quickly have a look at these, if I can have a look at it. All right, so from Scott Liao, from Biamp, outside of the newer DVO Tesla X units, are the DVO SCR units supported? Okay, it's a great question, Scott. Not 100% sure off the top of my head right now, but definitely something I'll take away and find out and come back to you. Okay, another question. Does approved Biamp products include the Biamp DVO solutions? Again, a very similar question to what Scott has asked. Let me just find out exactly what is and what is supported. I know that there's definitely documentation on Biamp's website about the exact models that are supported. So yeah, I'll double check for you guys, and I'll come back to you and let you know. Scott's just saying he's got one in Melbourne, so we can do some testing. Scott, definitely, let's take up a time and we can do some testing and see what we can get working. No problem. All right, so just quickly going back to my slides. All right, so another one of the big questions that comes up when we're talking about Yealink equipment and integrating Yealink equipment into room systems of bigger sizes or room systems that already have existing room control. That's something that Yealink have paid big attention to over the last kind of 3 to 6 months. So they've been working really strongly and really closely with these third-party DSP companies, but also the room control vendors as well. So not only now can we connect to these third-party DSPs, we can also integrate control systems directly into the Yealink system as well. And what this is going to allow us to actually do is we're going to have a control panel as another sheet on the Yealink touch panel as well. So when we go into our camera control function on our Yealink touch panel, we're also going to have a room control option in there as well. Now, the way that we need to do this is that so basically after the configuration of the control system has been completed, we can then, there'll then be a URL that can be generated by the configurator of that room control system. And that URL will then be copied into this room control web address function on the Yealink Room Connect software, which sits on the desktop of the MVC system. So we go back into the Windows section of our MVC system, we'd run the Yealink Room Connect software, we would then go to the settings cog at the top of the screen, go to the room control function, and we would enter our room control URL. And this, by enabling this room control function and entering that URL, gives us another flip page in the camera control or room control function on our Yealink touchscreen. All right, so quickly, I'll just show you what's already available via Yealink's built-in camera control. So by default, Yealink already has worked with Microsoft to allow a camera control function to be integrated into the MTR application that we all have used many times and know the look of it and the feel of it. So from that that control panel, we're able to access the camera control of our Yealink systems. So not only can we manually control the pan, tilt, zoom of the camera that we might be using, whether it's a single camera solution or a multi-camera solution, we have the ability to be able to control that camera from this screen here. And we're able to also turn on and off AI functionalities on the camera as well. So things like auto framing and speaker tracking, presenter tracking, all these features can be enabled or disabled on the fly, whether it's at the start of a meeting or before a meeting or during a meeting as well. So we can get access to that control page when we're in a meeting or when we're not in a meeting as well. Now, as well as that camera control function, if we do have a multi-camera solution installed, that we also have that layout function enabled as well. So this gives us the flexibility to be able to actually control how many cameras we're going to see in our meeting, and also that gives you the ability to change the layout type as well. So we can go from a full screen to a division type layout to a surround, and we can also change the amount of cameras as well. So even if we do have a 6-camera set up in our auditorium, we can utilize this. We can enable just to use 1 camera for smaller meetings as well. So this can all be done from that camera layout page on the MTR application. All right, so now this is where it gets a little bit different. So now, once we enable that room control function in the Yealink Room Connect software, we're going to get that room control flip page up at the top of the menu there, as you can see on the screenshot. So with this example, this is a Extron configuration. So we've integrated the Yealink system with Extron, and we've given us the ability to be able to change the displays, whether we're changing the inputs on our displays. We've got camera options as well. So depending on what abilities you have configured on your Extron systems is what's going to appear on these pages. So these pages are all generated based on the configuration tool that you've used with your Extron system. And that goes with the other supported vendors as well. So, it's all going to be set up and controlled via their own vendor's configuration software. But what we're doing is, after that actually has been configured and we've got it all set up, we are then just pointing to the control page in this Yealink system itself. All right, another example here is the AMX system. So again, we're utilizing the AMX control system. We're configuring that AMX control system through the AMX configurator tools, and then we're linking that configuration page that we've created through to the Yealink system. So from that Yealink system, the benefit of being able to do this is not having, two control panels. We don't want to have a control panel on the table to control our meeting, but then a control panel on the wall or something to control our room. So having this integration into the Yealink system and having the ability to access this room control from our touch panel is kind of what we're trying to do with this integration with these third-party control systems. And with the AMX system here again, so we've got, depending on what we configure based on the equipment that we have connected, whether it's, turning lights on and off, whether it's closing curtains, whether it's turning or switching panels to the right input, this can all be done utilizing the control systems that we're supported with the Yealink systems. Now, the next example is with the QSys or the QSC system. So again, we've got that configuration page that we've set up in the QSys system. We've then linked to that QSys configuration page, or the front end page for our controller, and then we have full control over the devices that we're using in that room. And examples on here is being able to mute particular microphones, being able to turn the audio up for particular microphones, turning speakers up, controlling lighting. All of this is now integrated into the Yealink Touch panel for ease of use. All right, and just to finish off, guys, I know it's a bit of a quick session here, but we're kind of right on time anyway. At the moment, the Yealink systems are compatible with Extron, QSC, and AMX, obviously from what you've just seen in the last few slides. And Yealink are actually also working with Lona at the moment as well to be certified. Now, another thing that I've heard around the grapevine over the last kind of month or so is that they're also working with Crestron out of the US. So hopefully in the near future, and hopefully not too far away, Yealink will also have integration with Crestron control as well. That's something to look forward to, kind of towards the end of Q4, early 2023. All right, guys, that's it for me for this session. It was kind of short and sweet, but just to summarize, we've kind of looked at, why would we use third-party audio with Yealink? Having that ability to be able to integrate existing audio, being able to cater for larger room spaces with the Yealink systems is all possible now through this integration. Being able to control or have complete room control from the one system as well. Every kind of large meeting room space, high-end meeting room space, all have control systems. So, being able to have this integration with Yealink is just that next step that Yealink are taking to kind of, be, to make sure that they're in the game, make sure that they've got what they need to be able to compete with the big players in this kind of technology area. And Yealink are doing a great job at this. And, I'm sure there's going to be more to come from Yealink in the future as well. All right, guys, is there any questions before we finish up today? If you do have any questions, chuck it in the Q&A or the chat, or if you do want to ask a question, just put your hand up and I'll unmute as well, and you can fire away. Just so you know, guys, as well, the recording for this Lunch and Learn session will be on the Alloy website and YouTube channel, either towards the end of the day or at least by tomorrow as well. Now, guys, if you do have any suggestions at all for for different Lunch and Learn sessions that you want to see, shoot me an email. Let me know exactly what you want to see. If we're if we're not providing you guys with the right information, or you want to hear about different things, you want to see different things, let me know. Shoot me an email, scott.young@alloy.com.au, and we'll look at getting that done for you guys. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate everyone's time today. I hope you've enjoying the sunny weather in Melbourne if you're in Melbourne. And I heard it's finally sunny in Sydney as well today. So enjoy the sunshine before the rain comes again for the weekend. for the rest of your day, guys, and we will. Oh, one more question just popped up. Maybe it's just a goodbye. All right, thank you, Chow. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and we'll see you all next time for Alloy's next Lunch and Learn session, which will be, if you don't know, on integration with interactive panels and the Yealink MVC systems. We look forward to that one as well. Thank you, guys.